Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this very special episode. Today marks a shift for this podcast from the What Not Why podcast to the Connection Experiment. It's not just a new name, it's a shift that comes with a lot of intentionality behind it. For a long time, this podcast was called What Not Why. And that title served a very important purpose in our community and for symbolizing what we stand for. It invited awareness. It encouraged observation over judgment. It helped us slow down our reactions and become more curious about thinking. Over time, something became incredibly clear to me about what this podcast is meant to do, what I hope it will serve as a vessel for or a vehicle for, and that is awareness. Awareness is probably the most powerful experience that we can have as individuals, as people and humans moving through the world. And the awareness of awareness not being a destination, but really a journey. It's becoming aware, and becoming never ends. It is a continuous pursuit. We don't catch awareness. It evolves. And in that evolution, we evolve as people. So today, this podcast becomes the Connection Experiment. It's an exciting change, an exciting time for us in our community and for the people who are listening and engaged and just interested in human potential. Because the work I care most about, the research I've devoted my years of study to, and the conversations that have changed lives all point to the same truth. We don't transform through information. We transform through relationships. And this rebrand is a statement about human values and what humans need to flourish. It's about real people, human experiences, and a place to practice the skills that help us show up for each other as humans first. What do human beings need? Now more than ever is the question that I ask myself over and over again. We need to be seen. We need to be heard, and we need to feel felt. So what is human connection? That is the big question. It's a question that we've been asking in our community for over 10 years now. In our classes, when you take the Life Coach program, we have been asking students to run a little experiment. That experiment involves asking at least 4 different people from different demographics and different walks of life what connection means to them. And we've been collecting this data for over 10 years in our Life and Wellness program, which is now called the Life Coach program. And when I coded the answers to see what the answers would reveal about the most common experience of human connection, I was surprised and in awe of what people seek the most. So the most common answer when I spent time coding, which is really just assigning numbers to data, the most common response became comfortable silence. Connection, human connection, is equal to or is often defined by comfort in silence with another person. When you can sit with another human being in silence and not feel like you have to be responsible for creating an experience, you can simply be together in the same space in comfort and with no expectations. That tells me that connection is the moment another person recognizes your inner world your thoughts, your emotions, your efforts, your humanity, and meets it with presence instead of judgment. It's the experience of, I matter here, right now, and with you. It's the sense that someone is not just receiving your words, but receiving you, all of you, the whole person of you. And this isn't sentimental, and it doesn't mean that we agree with everything that we receive. It is sitting in acceptance, in unconditional, positive regard for another human. It's neurological, it's psychological, it's social. In the work I have devoted my life to, which is 15 years of coaching, facilitation, building curriculum, and educational programs. And part of that has been research. One truth continues to surface. Connection is not a luxury. It is a human requirement. And we are all seeking connection now more than ever. And yet, somewhere along the way, we outsourced it. We outsourced connection and delegated it to devices. Phones became our eye contact. Notifications have replaced conversations. Scrolling became proximity. We are interacting constantly and connecting less intentionally. Children and teenagers are the ones who are suffering the most today when it comes to lack of connection. They're growing up in a digital world and making them digital natives, fluent in technology before they're fluent in emotional language. And technology is not the villain. The absence of deliberate human presence is the risk. And because connection is not bandwidth, it's attunement. Research is clear on this. When people feel heard, their stress hormones come down. They decrease. When emotions are acknowledged, trust increases. When individuals feel understood, their sense of belonging and confidence rises. Connection literally changes how the nervous system responds. It shifts people from defense mode into openness, from performance into participation and engagement. And we are living in a time where loneliness is rising, anxiety is rising, polarization is rising, while opportunities for genuine dialogue are shrinking. Not because we lack intelligence, but because we lack information. We are under-practiced in the skills that create human safety in conversation. I call those connection skills. It's in everything that I have built. The research, the curriculum, the academy, the multi-million-dollar business, the thousands of coaching hours. It all stands for one thing and one thing only. Coaching skills are connection skills. Coaching is not about advice. It's asking questions that invite thinking instead of conformity, to acknowledge another person's experience without trying to fix, save, or evaluate. These are not coaching tools. They are human tools. Human tools. Coaching is accessible to everyone. And we just need to let it be accessible. Beginning in schools, for example, teaching young people the skills of connection. They are effective communication tools. The coaching tools that we teach in the academy, the reason people come to our coach certification isn't always to become a certified coach. It is often to become a more efficient communicator. And it's what often people label as soft skills, but in fact have become connection skills that are essential to human thriving, but also human flourishing in fulfillment, in feeling belonging, in feeling felt. So this podcast is evolving to reflect that truth. This is no longer the What Not Why podcast, although we cherish every conversation and every guest, and none of those conversations change what we believe in and what we uphold at the Academy, those conversations are about the people doing the work. And those people are part of the connection experiment. It's an experiment because connection is not mastered once. It's practiced daily. I won't even say hourly and in a moment's notice. An experiment is all about curiosity. To experiment is to be curious. And that means it's imperfect. And it allows us to keep trying until we get it right. So in each episode, we will explore what happens when we become intentional about how we show up with one another in leadership, in parenting, in partnership, friendship, even in self-talk. Not from theory alone, but from the lived experiences of everyone in our community. From the research that has stood the test of peer reviews and time, from the conversations that change the way we think and relate, connection is what we were all about this year and what our existence is about at Coach Academy. Because here is the reality many of us are thinking. We're tired of talking without being understood. We're tired of being efficient but not fulfilled. And we're tired of conversations that skim the surface. We're also tired of being in a community without feeling connected or belonging. Sitting next to somebody on a bus or on a bench in a public space and never turning to say hello, not making any eye contact, sitting siloed with our earphones and our phones open, looking down, making eye contact with our phones, that is what we are tired of. We're tired of being fooled by that technology is connection. Technology is amazing. It is necessary, and it has provided so much good and opportunity for humans. However, it cannot replace the energetic, sympathetic nervous system response of actual connection with another human, where we see energy in motion in others. When we get an energetic response to communication, that is when connection matters more than ever, because people have lost the true meaning of connection because of the digital noise around us. And the louder the world becomes, the more intentional we must be about listening and connecting. Connection is not time-consuming. It is attention-giving. We have to examine the priorities that we have set around connection. It's a decision to pause long enough for another human being to feel real in our presence and to experience the give and take of that relationship. One conversation does not change the world, but one conversation changes a moment, and a moment changes a relationship, and a relationship has the power to change a life. So this is the connection experiment, where coaching is the method and connection is the outcome. As we begin this new experiment on this podcast together, I want to leave you with a question. Who in your life needs to feel more seen, more heard, and more felt right now? Maybe it's a partner, a friend, a child. Who needs to feel your attention on them today? Not to fix them, not to save them, not even to give them advice, but to just meet them where they are and acknowledge their inner experience. Because connection doesn't require perfection. It requires a willingness and an intention. And when we choose to listen differently, to speak more intentionally and acknowledge the humanity in front of us, something subtle happens. Conversations shift, relationships soften, people open up, and I believe that people begin to discover their true potential in that kind of attention, under that kind of attention and attunement. My belief in the work of my life is simple. Coaching is the method, connection is the outcome, and connection practiced on purpose changes everything. And this podcast, the Connection Experiment, is where we practice being human on purpose. Thank you for joining us. We hope this conversation has inspired you to share this episode with a friend and subscribe for more connection conversations. Pay the gift of awareness forward. Share this episode and belong to a community celebrating what it means to be human, flawed, and flourishing. This is the Connection Experiment produced by Coach Academy. I'm Nathalie. Thanks for listening.